I've been helping patients improve their kidney function for more than 10 years now. In order to achieve this result, my main focus is the renal diet, which is key to improve. You see, in a recent study, 120 CKD stage 3 and 4 patients were able to reverse the decline of their GFR just by improving their diet. Incredible, isn't it? What's most interesting about this study is that all the participants of the intervention group improved, and they were able to achieve this result with a very easy to follow diet. Now, one of the most important parts of this study is the way protein intake was managed. I can tell that the way they did that was key to the incredible result they achieved, because when we talk about the diet that protects the kidneys, we mainly talk about protein. You see, there are only 3 macronutrients, the most important parts of the diet, and they are carbohydrate, fat, and protein. And well, fat and carbs are pretty easy to get, right? How? You just need to avoid high glycemic foods, limit saturated fats, and eat everything else in moderation. And I know that this is easier said than done, but protein is a lot harder to manage. So, how do we manage protein in a renal diet? If we take a look at what the current guideline recommends, we will see it won't just give you an overall recommendation for protein like you will get from carb and fat. No, it will tell you to eat exactly 0.55 to 0.60 grams per kilograms of protein per ideal body weight per day if you don't have diabetes, and exactly 0.6 to 0.8 grams per kilograms of protein per ideal body weight per day if you have diabetes. So, for example, a male with diabetes weighing 180 pounds will need to eat a little bit less of 60 grams of protein per day. That's the equivalent of the protein you will get from around 3 cups of white beans, which is a lot of beans, by the way. And while I obviously don't recommend eating so many beans per day, it was just an example to show that it's not like you should not eat protein at all, alright? Also, because all foods contain a little bit of protein that you should be accounting for. Grains, nuts, seeds, even greens contain protein. So my point here is that you need to know exactly how much protein you need every day, and that it is very important to follow this recommendation. As I've started a million times here on the channel, getting the right amount of protein every day is key to stop the decline or improve your GFR numbers. This is a rule. It's not up for debate if you want to save your kidneys. Now you may ask, but limiting protein always makes me feel sick. Why should I follow this rule? Because if you follow me here regularly, you probably already know that following a low or very low protein diet is basically mandatory for anyone wanting to improve their GFR and to lower their creatinine levels, including people with diabetes. And this became the rule after thousands of kidney disease patients were able to avoid or significantly delay dialysis, just thanks to a diet that's low on protein. This is why you should find out with the help of your nephrologist how much protein you need every day, and you should follow this prescription strictly. You can't eat too much nor too little protein. Both situations will be very bad for you. Now guys, having a set amount of daily protein also implies that you need to eat a little bit of high quality protein sources every day. What you actually want are foods that are low on phosphorus, because phosphorus from animal-based foods is very hard on the kidneys and of high on biological value. So the big question is, what are the best high-quality protein sources for a renal diet? So, our very first entry will come as a bit of a surprise, because I usually recommend to avoid animal-based foods. But hey, I don't do that because I'm a vegan or something like that. I only care about your health. Alright, so a great protein source, high biological value, very low on phosphorus, is egg whites. It's not very usual to see egg whites recommended for people with CKD, so as usual, consult your doctor if you want to add them to your diet. And also keep in mind that they are very rich in protein, so you will need to be very moderate here. But egg whites actually are special in a way. Yes, as we can see here, egg whites are very high in protein compared to the amount of calories you will get. Now, the other thing that makes us consider egg whites for a renal diet when all the other animal-based foods are banned is their phosphorus content. Egg whites are very low in phosphorus, and this is way more important than most people realize. You see, in the study I was mentioning earlier, 120 CKD stage 3 and 4 patients were able to reverse the decline of their GFR. This is a very significant study, and not just because it was published in a very prestigious peer-reviewed paper, not just because all the test subjects got an improvement on average. I mean, that's amazing, but there is more to it, because you see, they were able to achieve an improvement in kidney function in non-diabetic patients without having to limit protein intake to below 0.75 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, which means that they were able to improve without the use of keto analogs. Keto analogs are an amino acid supplement that CKD patients are supposed to take when reducing protein to 0.60 grams per kilograms per day or less. Now, if these numbers confuse you, don't worry, I've made a full video to show you exactly how a diet with this kind of protein intake would look like. It's up here and also down in the description. Now, in the study in which 120 patients improved, they were not taking keto analogs, but they still got better. And the secret, in my opinion, was using just the right amount of protein that are low on phosphorus but of high biological value. But what does high biological value mean, and why is it important? When a protein contains essential amino acids in the right proportions required by humans, we say it has high biological value, okay? So it means it's a complete protein. This usually only happens in animal-based protein. On the other hand, plant-based protein usually has too low levels on one or more amino acids, and it is low biological value. There is an exception to that, however, that we will see in a moment. Now, keep in mind that low biological value doesn't mean unhealthy or bad for you. In fact, the human body is perfectly able to get all the amino acids it needs from different foods and to recombine them. This is why people with CKD can eat just plant-based protein and still be fine. But you see, there may be benefits from getting part of your protein from high biological value source. In fact, people with CKD are usually recommended to only eat plant-based protein. So the question is, are there sources of protein that are both high biological value and plant-based? Yes, actually one. Soybeans. Soybeans are commonly consumed in Asia in several different forms, including tofu. While they have many of the health benefits of other legumes, there is one reason why soybeans may be particularly great in a renal diet. They are one of the only plant-based sources of protein that is also of high biological value, which means they have all the essential amino acids in them, as I was saying. And keep in mind that these legumes are very rich in protein, so moderation is key when adding beans and legumes to your diet. And they are also higher in phosphorus than egg whites, but phosphorus is not well absorbed from plant-based foods, which is a big plus. Now, the other advantage of soybeans and soy products over egg whites is the fact that they are plant-based. Plant-based protein do have more kidney protecting benefits than animal-based protein, says science. And soybeans may come with even more benefits depending on how they are prepared. For example, you could eat natto. Natto is a Japanese delicacy, a dish made from fermented soybeans. It is one of the best sources of vitamin K2, an essential nutrient with powerful kidney protecting benefits. And many people believe that natto actually is the reason why Japanese people live longer and have fewer chronic diseases. Natto is the only source of nattokinase, an enzyme that lowers blood pressure and dissolves blood clots. And this is not all. Natto is also a probiotic food. Now, there are other protein sources you may consider in a renal diet that are not soybeans and egg whites. Whole grains, seeds, nuts are all great sources of plant-based protein that can be used to reach the needed amount of daily protein. But one of the best protein sources is legumes. Legumes are great because they have so many health benefits. They are high in resistant starch, a type of fiber that improves gut and kidney health. It protects from blood sugar spikes. Legumes are also high in antioxidants and iron, so consider having in your diet legumes such as chickpeas, black beans, and green beans. And if you want to learn more about the best legumes and their benefits, my video up here is for you. Now, there is also a very underrated protein source with a lot of health benefits that you don't hear about very often. This is spirulina. Now, spirulina is not just very low in phosphorus compared to the amount of protein you will get, which is key for kidney health as we have seen. It also comes with many health benefits. Spirulina is a type of blue-green algae that is rich in vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. Spirulina is one of the best plant sources of iron in existence. It's also incredibly high in calcium, with over 26 times the calcium in milk. It also contains many of the vitamins someone with kidney problems needs the most, including vitamin B1, B3, and B6, but also folic acid, vitamin C, vitamin D, and more. It's also one of the most powerful antioxidants on earth, 4 times more powerful than blueberries. Some studies are also showing that it can help lowering cholesterol levels and decrease the inflammation in the body. Now, spirulina is also rich in tryptophan, which is great to help you sleep better. So consider trying it before sleep. Now you may ask, how do I know how much protein I should eat per day? As we have seen, protein is essential for your body. Getting the right amount of protein every day is crucial to manage CKD and to keep or improve your GFR level. It will be a serious mistake not knowing how much protein you are eating every day. So what should you do? Well, the best course of action is clearly knowing very well how much protein a day you are eating. And there are 2 ways to achieve this. First, you could have a dietitian preparing you a diet that you will have to follow. That's something I always recommend, by the way. And also, you can get informed. You can learn what foods contain protein and how much of it. You can then measure everything you eat and use an app to make sure you are in the right range for protein intake and other nutrients. I personally use these kind of apps every day because I want to track my macros for my diet. There are various free apps you can use: Nutritionix, MyFitnessPal, Chronometer, Lucid, and more. They all do a similar job. They all let you track with sufficient accuracy your macronutrients. Now, the one I actually use is Chronometer. The free version lets me do almost everything I need. The way these apps work is very easy. You can input any food you want as breakfast, lunch, dinner, and so on. And the app will tell you exactly how much protein, but also phosphorus, potassium, sodium, etc. you will be getting. Also, you can set daily goals for these nutrients, which is very useful. These apps are free and can be used on Android iPhone and even on a PC via web browser. And while they are not supposed to replace a renal nutritionist or a dietitian, they can definitely help you make your diet more varied and also help you make sure you are getting the right nutrients every day. And that's very useful because in many cases a few grams of protein or carbs could make all the difference. And guys, if you want to learn more about the renal diet, my video up here is for you, and this is all for today. Thank you for watching. God bless you all. This is the #1 reason why CKD patients cannot improve, says science. Despite all their efforts, most kidney patients are not able to improve their GFR numbers. This recent study says that his dietary staple may be the key to solve this problem. Catherine here. I've been working with people suffering from kidney disease for more than 10 years now. And if there is one thing that I've learned is that focusing on what actually works is key to help people get better. This is what I want to do today. So let's talk about what really matters when it comes to stopping and even reversing the progression of kidney disease. This recent study found out the number one reason why most CKD patients cannot improve their kidney health despite all their efforts. So if you are doing everything you can to improve your GFR numbers but nothing seems to work, this may be the reason. So question, what is the reason why most CKD patients cannot improve? One of the most authoritative studies about kidney disease seems to have found the key to the renal diet. This paper, published in the BMC Nephrology, has outlined what can be considered the number one problem with the renal diet. Let's read it directly from this study. For most patients with CKD, it is difficult to control their DPI, daily protein intake, as per the standard range, even under the guidance of registered dietitians. Don't worry if this part is not clear, I'll explain better in a moment. The Modification of Diet in Renal Disease Study, MDRD, found that average DPI reached 0.77 grams per kilograms per day under strict guidance, contrasting with the desired value of 0.58 grams per kilograms per day in the LPD group. So what these researchers mean here is that while CKD patients are supposed to eat as little as 0.58 grams per kilograms per day of protein, which is a very small amount of protein, most of them are simply not able to do so, even if they try. And this can definitely frustrate any effort at improving kidney function. In fact, a large study proved that even when guided by registered dietitians, patients on average were eating 0.77 grams per kilograms per day of protein. And that's a lot more protein than what a patient in stage 3B to 5 pre-dialysis is supposed to eat. Now guys, if you think that you may be eating too much protein, don't worry. First of all, this is not your fault. This diet is still relatively new and even dietitians are failing to make it work, as we have seen. And most importantly, the study I want to focus on today is not about the issue. It is about the solution. Yes, these scientists believe they can improve your renal diet at the point of stopping or reversing the decline of your GFR just by focusing on what they call low-protein staple foods. Easy to prepare, easy to eat foods that you can add to your diet to greatly decrease your protein intake and protect your kidneys. Now guys, we will see what low-protein staple foods are recommended in this study in a moment. Before that, very important question. Is the low-protein diet actually proven to help stop kidney disease? Well, today there is solid scientific proof that everyone with kidney disease needs to limit their protein intake if they want to improve their GFR. At the point that today, the guidance, the rule book for the diet for kidney disease, not only says that patients must restrict their protein intake, it even prescribes low to very low amounts of protein to basically anyone with CKD. And well, when a dietary therapy becomes the rule to follow, there must be a good reason, right? Part of this reason is a very large review of studies published on the Cochrane Library that prove that following a low-protein diet reduces the chances of ending up in dialysis. Studies are also proving that reducing protein intake reduces proteinuria, cholesterol levels, phosphorus levels, hypertension, metabolic acidosis. It even helps with anemia and other complications of CKD. Because, well, this is a diet that protects the kidneys and makes them work better. And yes, we are really close now to a consensus in the medical field when it comes to the low-protein diet. There is just a reason why today there are still CKD patients not following a low-protein diet. The low-protein diet, or LPD in short, works, no doubt about it, at the point that today studies are not focusing anymore on if it works, but they are now thinking about how to make it work for everyone. Because you see, there is one main objection to the LPD today. What naysayers will tell you about this kidney-saving diet is that following a LPD is too complicated. This diet has too many restrictions. It's too hard to set up and it's too hard to stick to it. This is what some doctors are still telling their patients, by the way. And also to, well, prepare for dialysis. But I bet you don't want to do that, right? You would prefer to follow a diet rather than to start dialysis. I mean, you wouldn't be here otherwise, right? But you know, the renal diet must be followed in a very thorough way for it to work. And as I was saying, most CKD patients in MDRD study, a large study about the adherence to the LPD, were found to be unable to stick to the prescribed daily intake of protein. So they weren't able to improve. But don't worry, they actually found a solution. Researchers actually found a way to make the low-protein diet work for everyone, giving a chance to all patients to avoid dialysis. So what's the solution that makes this kidney-saving diet work? It's actually rather simple. This is a principle I love to apply to my videos too when it comes to the diet. In this study, researchers requested the patients taking 250 grams low-protein rice per day or low-protein flour as a low-protein staple food diet instead of regular staple food daily. Yes, this is what I call focusing on what works. So instead of giving people a long list of foods to avoid, these researchers gave them staple foods such as flour or rice that are made to be lower in protein than the regular flour or rice that you can buy at the grocery store. And well, it worked. Participants in this study were able to greatly reduce their protein intake and protect their kidneys just by eating these low-protein food staples every day. And well, it's amazing how simple and effective this strategy is, because just avoiding high-protein foods doesn't work. This is where low-protein staple foods come in handy. They are what can make this diet work, because you still need to eat enough calories every day. You don't want to lose weight if you have CKD in the advanced stages. But you can't do that if you don't know what to eat. And well, all the most common carbohydrate sources such as rice, pasta, bread, anything made from flour, they all have some protein in them. This is why most patients find it hard to limit protein intake. I mean, they still have to eat something, right? And scientists found out that giving patients foods with no protein in them was the best way to help the patient get enough calories every day without eating too much protein. Yes, this is literally the easiest way in the world to improve your kidney function. So, question, what low-protein staple foods were used in this study? So, the study was done in Japan, and naturally they focused more on rice, which is the main staple food in many Asian countries. Now, the problem with rice is that it is relatively rich in protein. 100 grams of white rice contain about 7 grams of protein. The rice they use in this study, on the other hand, is produced by a Japanese brand food called Forica Foods. They specialize in medical foods, and thanks to a proprietary procedure, they are able to produce rice and noodles with just 0.1 to 0.83 grams of protein per 100 grams. So, a lot less protein than what you will get from regular rice. Keep in mind that someone with kidney disease is supposed to consume only 20 to 35 grams of protein per day, depending on body weight. And while rice is not a high protein food, when you get 7 grams here, 7 grams there, it quickly adds up and you end up eating more than you want, as we have seen. This is especially important because foods like rice, pasta, grains, legumes do not have high quality protein, and studies are showing that when you are limiting protein intake, it is better to eat more high quality protein like that you can get from egg whites, for example. So the idea here is simple. Patients eat this rice and they get the calories they need without getting too much low quality protein. Now you may ask, I'm not in Japan. How do I find low protein food staples? Well, Japan is not the only country in the world that adopted the low protein diet for kidney disease decades ago. In Italy, we also use low-protein foods such as staple of the renal diet. But we don't make rice, we make pasta here. There are at least 3 brands that produce low-protein or no-protein pasta, and some of them also export these products. Low-protein pasta is a zero or very low-protein alternative to pasta that tastes as good as regular pasta. And since low-protein pasta is especially developed for people with kidney problems, it is also very low in potassium and phosphorus. Actually, some brands also fortify this pasta with renal vitamins. Talking about brands, this pasta is pretty easy to find here in Italy. This is Amazon.it. You can find almost any type of low-protein pasta here, but you can also find low-protein cookies, bread, and more. They ship in Europe, so if you are anywhere in Europe, you should have no problems. It may be trickier if you live in places where low-protein diets were not the norm for people with kidney problems. However, this is a brand called Aperten. Some websites in the US, Canada, and Australia carry it. Another brand is called Flavis. This one actually ships only in the US. This brand is called Loprofin and ships in Australia and New Zealand. I haven't found anything in the Philippines nor in India, so if any of you guys know about low-protein pasta brands in these countries, please let me know in comment section. Now, a very important question you may ask: what if I cannot find these products or they are too expensive for me? Guys, even if you don't have access to this kind of low-protein food staples, don't worry. You can still benefit from the findings of these very important papers, and you can still improve your diet, thus improving your kidney function. Because their results can be replicated just by focusing on low-protein staple foods you can actually buy at the grocery store. Some staple foods with very low protein content that are suitable for someone with kidney disease are all fruits except dried fruits. Fruits are rich in antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, and fiber, and can help lower blood pressure and inflammation. Apples, bananas, berries, grapes, melons, oranges, pears, they are all very low on protein. And all vegetables except peas, beans, and corn. These vegetables are also high in antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, and fiber, and can help prevent constipation and lower blood pressure. And they are low on protein and safe for a renal diet, just like many sources of healthy fats such as olive oil and avocados. Healthy fats can help lower cholesterol and inflammation and provide energy and essential fatty acids. Olive oil is a good source of monounsaturated fat and antioxidants, while avocados are rich in vitamins and fiber, all very low in protein and great to protect the kidneys. These foods can be combined in different ways to create delicious and nutritious dishes that are low in protein. You can make a fruit salad with your favorite fruits and a dressing of lemon juice and honey. You can roast or steam your favorite vegetables and drizzle some olive oil and vinegar over them. You can mash some avocados with garlic and lime juice to make a guacamole dip for your tortilla chips or raw vegetables. Okay, and now you may ask, but Catherine, the main finding you showed us today is that most patients cannot follow the prescribed limit for protein intake. How can I make sure I'm not making the same mistake? Well, the answer is this: 100% free up. This is something I recommend everyone with kidney disease actually. It's a better way of managing your diet than just following a diet prescribed to you by a dietitian. It's an app called Chronometer. It's a very complete diet app actually, and it's simple to use once you get the hang of it. You basically just weigh everything you eat on a kitchen scale and you input the food and the weight into the app. What this app gives you is the total of the calories, protein, carbohydrates, and fats you are getting every day. Yeah, it takes some extra time at first, but I still recommend doing this after reading the study today's video is all about. Plus, you will also know how much sodium, potassium, and phosphorus, and well, all the other vitamins and minerals you are getting every day. You can also scan the tag of packaged foods items and the app will automatically add them. I personally use these kind of apps every day because I want to track my macros for my diet. There are various free or freemium apps you can use: Nutritionix, MyFitnessPal, Chronometer, Lucid, and more. They all do a similar job, but the one I actually use is Chronometer because it comes in a free version that lets me do everything I need. And well, in my opinion, for someone with kidney disease, making 100% sure that they are getting the right amount of protein every day is completely worth the hassle of having to weigh everything and putting everything in the app. And guys, if you want to learn more about the best foods for the renal diet, this video up here is for you. And this is all for today. Thank you for watching. God bless you all. Bye. In a recent study, a man who was rapidly approaching dialysis was able to completely reverse kidney disease. He was risking dialysis. Then he started this diet. Today, his creatinine level is normal. His kidneys are perfectly fine. This is his secret. Catherine here. I've been working with kidney disease patients for more than a decade now, and I've met patients who were able to improve their kidney function even when their doctors told them to prepare for dialysis.
Wait. What?
What is their secret? They are all following an easy diet. A diet that made it possible for them to follow it every day for years without problems. Let's say it. There is no improving your kidney function if your diet is not easy to follow. I'm saying this after learning from the success story I talked about in my recent video. This is a man who was in stage 3B and that was taking 12 medications every day for his diabetes and high blood pressure. Everything changed when he started a diet as easy as this. Eating exactly what you see here, without any portion control nor tracking, he was able to completely reverse kidney disease. In just 4.5 months, his creatinine levels went back to normal. He was also able to lose more than 30 kilos or 70 pounds, and he stopped taking the majority of his medications. So, how can you achieve this? How can we make your diet easier? So my aim in my videos is to make the renal diet easy for you, easy for my subscribers that watch and comment my videos, alright? Yeah, I always do my best to know you guys. I read and answer as many comments as possible in comment section. So, what I want to focus on today are some of the questions you are asking in comment section. I've tried to focus on those things that are more frequently asked or on what people usually get wrong. So, what questions can make all the difference to making your diet easier? Let's start with a question about a food that's stirring a hot debate in comment section already. Question: is cooking with oil safe for the kidneys? So cooking oil is the first point of debate here. Many patients are actually recommended to use oil in cooking, albeit sparingly, but in the study I mentioned, cooking oil was forbidden. So you guys are asking me, he started cooking with no oil, am I doing it wrong thing by using avocado oil to cook? Now, cooking with oil is not necessarily a bad thing as long as you use the right oil, such as olive oil or avocado oil, and you use as little as possible of it during cooking. Cooking method is also very important. Saute your veggies, cook them for as little time as possible. Never do deep fries, that's never healthy. Also make sure you are never hitting the smoke point. Every oil has a smoke point, the temperature at which the oil is no longer stable and begins to break down, causing visible fumes. For example, avocado oil has a pretty high smoke point and it's ideal for sauteing. So why was this man instructed to completely avoid oil in cooking in order to improve his kidney health and to lose more than 30 kilos or 70 pounds? Well, the fact that he was obese has a lot to do with it. You see, fats are extremely caloric compared to the other macronutrients. For example, just 1 teaspoon of oil has about 40 calories. You should eat about 2 cups of kale to get the same calories. But which one would you make feel more satiated? 2 cups of kale or 1 teaspoon of oil? So my advice here is to strictly limit oil and other high-fat foods if you need to lose weight, alright? But add a generous amount of raw olive oil on your salad if, on the other hand, you are struggling to maintain your body weight. Yes, that's how you improve your kidney health using your diet as a tool. Next question, should you avoid eggs in a renal diet? Oh, what about eggs? Many of you guys are asking about eggs. Here is a comment. Please explain why this mentioned not to eat eggs, but in one of your last video eggs are suggested. So this is an interesting question. Now the general rule is no eggs in the renal diet, okay? And we have seen more than one study in which kidney disease patients reversed kidney disease recently. In some of them, eggs were forbidden. But in one study in particular, eggs were used as a tool to help patients improve their kidney health. How? This is a study in which 120 patients stage 3 and 4 all improved just with a diet. All the test subjects in the intervention group improved their kidney function. How is this possible? They achieved the incredible result of getting all the test subjects on average to improve their kidney function mainly by focusing on strictly limiting low biological value protein intake and phosphorus intake. What they focused on in this study was giving patients foods that were very low on phosphorus but rich in high biological value or complete protein. And one of the best foods when it comes to complete protein to phosphorus ratio is egg white. So this is what can cause some confusion about eggs, alright? They are generally on the avoid list because they are rich in protein. But egg whites are also one of the foods with the best complete protein to phosphorus ratio. Now keep in mind that keeping protein intake low enough is the priority in a renal diet. Egg whites are not going to help you at all if you can't keep your protein intake low enough. But people have been improving their kidney function when they were able to follow a low protein diet that was also including egg whites as the protein source, because it's very low in phosphorus but it's a complete protein. So I hope this clarifies why eggs are sometimes recommended and sometimes forbidden. Up next, one of the most debated foods of the renal diet. Question: can you eat dairy if you are on a renal diet? This is a comment I got in one of my recent trivia. The calcium in the cheese will also compete with phosphorus for absorption. I do not advise my patients to avoid dairy personally. Moderating it seems more sensible. Okay guys, I know very well that you know already that dairy is on the nasty list of the renal diet. Most dairy, including milk and most types of cheese, are too rich, especially in phosphorus, but also protein, to be regulars on the tables of those following a renal diet. And by the way, I will immediately tell you that if you want to see your kidneys improve, you must completely avoid ultra-processed types of cheese, such as Cheese Whiz, various spreads, Velveeta, and so on. That's junk food. Now, what's controversial about dairy are those types of cheese that actually have some health benefits. I'm talking especially about those low phosphorus, minimally processed types of cheese such as brie, ricotta, parmesan, maybe even cheddar, but cheddar is higher in phosphorus than this. And they do have some health benefits. They have some calcium and some vitamin B12 and in some cases vitamin K2, all things that most kidney patients are supposed to supplement. But these types of cheese also have phosphorus and protein and sodium in them. So question, should you remove these healthier cheeses or should you just limit them? Well, it depends on your levels. You see, the rule today when it comes to the renal diet is to make personalized diets for every single patient. So maybe you have too high phosphorus levels or you are struggling to keep protein intake down. Don't eat cheese at all then. And this is the most common situation according to studies. A common reason why people end up with renal failure, okay? So if your goal is to make your diet as easy as possible, just forget that cheese even exists. But what about someone with phosphorus in the range that really loves cheese? Yeah, I would say that they can have a small piece of cheese 1 or 2 times a week if they really want. But keep in mind that most patients struggle to really limit protein intake, alright? And that's a cause of kidney damage. That's what sends people on dialysis. And I know that many people have a strong opinion about cheese. It's one of the hardest things to remove from the diet. So let me know what you think about cheese, and if you eat it, let's talk about it in comment section. Okay, now a very interesting question about cravings. Question, what causes sugar cravings? How can you avoid them? So this is a comment from one of you guys. Other YouTube contents say protein helps them to curb sugar cravings. Any thoughts on it? So should you eat more protein in order to reduce sugar cravings? Those YouTubers are kind of right when they say that protein is a way to reduce sugar cravings. It works a little bit. There is only one problem with that. If you have CKD, this extra protein will destroy your kidneys. Science is 100% clear on that. If you have kidney disease, you must aggressively cut on your protein intake. That's a hard rule today, alright? It's not up for debate. So recommending more protein in order to curb sugar cravings is just like telling people to smoke in order to lose weight. Yeah, it works, but it will also remove you from this world in a much shorter amount of time. But I guess those YouTubers don't really care about that as long as they are selling enough keto pills. So question, what to do in order to stop sugar cravings? Now there is an easy trick that's supported by science, by the way, that I use every time I go on a diet to completely stop my cravings for sugar. It works a million times better than protein. And by the way, this is the only superpower of the keto diet. The only reason why some people have results with the keto diet. And guess what? You can incorporate this superpower to a diet that doesn't damage your kidneys. So what is the big secret to stop sugar cravings completely? It's completely avoiding processed and added sugars. So try this and tell me if it works. Starting from tomorrow, check every food item you eat for added sugar and completely remove them from your diet. Not just talking about sodas, fruit juices, sweets, and the other usual suspects. Also condiments, ketchup, sauces, packaged bread, anything that comes in a package must be checked for added sugar. As soon as your added sugar intake is down to 0 for 2 or 3 days, the miracle will happen and you won't crave sugar at all anymore. Seriously, anyone I recommend this to says it's incredible. And keep in mind that sugar naturally present in plants won't create any cravings, alright? So, eat more fruit and veggies and avoid added sugar. As a small added bonus eating, more potatoes, oranges, bananas, and completely avoiding added sugar will significantly improve your quality of life, your longevity, and your kidney health. Okay, time now for a question I always get whenever I mention potatoes, oranges, bananas. Isn't potassium supposed to be the #1 enemy of your kidneys? Here's what this comment says. High potassium can lead to stroke. Don't recommend such unscientific information. Okay, this one was not really a question, and it's real that too high serum potassium levels can lead to stroke. Everyone with kidney disease knows this. So, how come the man that completely reversed his kidney disease and lost more than 70 pounds was explicitly ordered to eat not just one, but at least 2 high potassium fruits every day as snacks. Now, I wasn't the one to prescribe him that diet, alright? This study was co-signed by a nephrologist and a family doctor. So, how come these doctors that are being published in one of the most prestigious medical journals for their achievement are recommending their patient such unscientific information? And guys, the study says at least, alright? It doesn't mention an upper limit. So, if he was particularly hungry, nobody was stopping him to eat even 3 or, God forbid, 4 fresh clementines as snacks. Yeah, such unscientific way to reverse kidney disease. But how is it possible that instead of getting a stroke, he actually got out of kidney disease? Well, because potassium intake from foods is not the cause for hyperkalemia. Potassium was actually removed from the diet in a very unscientific way. They didn't know back then that what actually causes too high potassium levels are problems such as constipation, inadequate insulin, untreated metabolic acidosis, inadequate dialysis, and medications, especially blood pressure medications. In short, if your serum potassium level is higher than 5.2, you should talk to your nephrologist and see what they can do with your ACE inhibitors or your angiotensin receptor blockers, or with those other issues I just mentioned, because that's what causes hyperkalemia, not the food you eat. And I've talked more in depth about this topic in my video up here and also down in the description, by the way. And this was the last one for today. Guys, let me know if you like this video and if you want to see more like this one. Also, feel free to ask any question down in comment section. And this is all for today. Thank you for watching. God bless you all. Bye.